This is the Pro-4X Warrior. It's the top dog in the Nissan Navara lineup. It's a hardcore four-wheel drive collaboration between Nissan Australia and Melbourne-based vehicle engineering firm Premcar. It's purpose-built and Aussie-tuned for adventure, but is it actually any good? Well, that's what we're here to find out, so stick around. If you want to know something in particular about this vehicle, there are time codes on your screen now. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, there are chapter markers below. And if you are watching this video on YouTube, make sure you hit like, share it with your mates, and make sure you hit subscribe and tap that bell icon while you're at it to stay up to date with all of our content. The Pro-4X Warrior is available only in dual cab pickup body style, but you do have a choice of a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 7-speed automatic transmission. I'm driving the auto. Standard features include an 8-inch multimedia touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, AEB lane keep assist and a round view monitor, and a rear diff lock. As part of the Premcar engineering upgrade that adds more than $9,000 worth of extras to the Warrior, you get a winch-compatible bullbar, 100 kilograms of GVM upgrade, you get an extra 40 millimeters of ground clearance, that wheel track is 30 mils wider, and it has revised suspension with new spring rates and dampers. Price as listed for the Warrior Auto is $69,990 plus on-road costs. We'll put its dimensions up on screen now just to give you an idea of its size. But in terms of styling, the Pro-4X Warrior has a few major points of difference with its Pro-4X stablemate, and those are this hoopless steel bull bar with the integrated light bar. That looks good. It also has this quite eye-catching red 3mm steel underbody protection that gives it a real aggressive presence. It's got a wider wheel track than the Pro-4X, and it's a little bit taller than the Pro-4X. So all those things make it stand apart from the non-Warrior variant. Other things about it that I'm not quite sure of. There are 3 exterior paint jobs available for the Warrior. This one has the stealth grey, which I don't mind, but what I do mind are the stickers down the rear end, the Pro-4X Warrior. I don't think you need them. I'm not a big fan. They're not my cup of tea, but some people will like them. Elsewhere, it has those Cooper Discoverer AT3 all-terrain tyres, and they add to the gnarly presence of the Warrior. When you're buying a ute, you want to know about the load space. Now, we'll put those dimensions up on screen now just to give you an idea of size. But in terms of functionality, we'll dive right in. First up, the tailgate has a bit of a soft drop feel to it, which is good. Saves a bit of wear and tear on the old elbow. Inside on the tub walls are the Utilitrack system. This is essentially a rail either side with 2 movable tie-down points on it. Comes in pretty handy, allows you a little bit more flexibility when you're trying to restrain your cargo in the tub. Apart from that, you have 4 fixed tie-down points lower down in the tub, which again gives you a little bit of flexibility with tying your load down in the back. And there's a pretty sturdy tub liner. There are a few differences between the interior of the Warrior and the Pro-4X, although there is some Warrior branding up front. I'll show you that in a second. The back seat is perfectly fine. The seats are pretty comfortable, plenty of room. I would restrict it to 2 adults on the outboard seats or kids all the way across because it is a little bit squeezy. In terms of storage, you miss out on map pockets in the seats in front, but you do get the bottle holders in the door and the fold-out armrest with the cup holders there. You do have directional air vents and a USB charge point there. All in all, it's a pretty neat and tidy space. Up front, and the story is pretty much the same. You do get the Warrior branding in the headrest, and that looks nice. It's a well-designed and well-built space with nice materials. The 8-inch multimedia touchscreen has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's easy enough to work. There is no reach adjustment to the steering wheel, which is a bit of a niggle of mine, and the seats are manually adjustable. But overall, it's a nice functional space. It is feeling a little bit old now, and it is feeling a little bit more squeezed than its rivals, but it's pretty good otherwise. The Warrior has the Pro-4X's 2.3 litre 4-cylinder twin-turbo diesel engine, and that produces 140 kilowatts and 450 newton meters, and it's matched to a 7-speed automatic transmission. Now, it's not the most liveliest combination around, but it's perfectly workmanlike, and it always gets the job done. This ute also has a part-time 4-wheel drive system with high and low range. For a vehicle that has been engineered or re-engineered to be a real hardcore four-wheel drive, the Warrior is actually pretty decent on road. Steering is nice, there's plenty of visibility, that engine offers lots of torque across a wide rev range, and the new suspension setup, which has been really designed to yield a better ride when you're off-road, does pretty well on-road. But even with all of these changes though, it's still a Navara under the metal, and it's not the most dynamic vehicle to drive, not the liveliest around, but I don't mind it. There are no performance improvements in this Warrior over the Pro-4X because they share the same engine and there have been no mechanical changes. But that's okay with me because that engine and auto work really well together. It's more of a subdued partnership than an exciting one. For a four-wheel drive ute that looks so aggressive, so in your face, it really is nice to drive, and it's quiet inside. Fair enough, it's not as refined as some of its rivals, but it does a pretty good job. Premcar's work on turning the Pro-4X into a hardcore off-road machine has largely focused on the suspension and the wheels and tyres. Now the tyres are nice, aggressive all-terrains, they're Cooper Discoverers, and they work fine pretty much on everything. The Warrior is wider and it's taller, so as well as having more ground clearance and better, more off-road friendly angles, approach, departure and ramp over, you have a more natural, wider stance, a more muscular stance, and it sits really well on tracks at speed, and also low speed you're given a little bit more control through trickier tracks. Low range gearing is good and there's plenty of torque across a nice spread of revs. You can access it pretty much when you need to when you're low speed, low range four-wheel driving. There is also plenty of driver assist tech aimed at helping you out when you are four-wheel driving. Hill descent control is pretty solid. It holds you to a sustained low speed when you're going down a hill. And there is also a rear diff lock, and that's always a handy addition to any four-wheel drive. And beyond any of its other mechanical or driver assist tech attributes, what really sets the Warrior apart is its pure physicality, and that makes it suited to hardcore four-wheel driving. Raised suspension, better ground clearance, a wider wheel track, give it a stability, give it the ability to get up and over some pretty hardcore rock steps and anything else you could point it at. The suspension, the new springs and shocks are Warrior specific, and they're aimed at yielding a more controlled, more compliant ride and a more comfortable ride when you hit some harsh terrain like we're on now. Now, the benefit of that package is really only obvious when you hit the dirt or the gravel roads with severe ruts and potholes. It really does take the edge off a lot of those harsher lumps and bumps. When you're on the dirt, the Warrior has a nice settled feel about it, and that's got a lot to do with that wider wheel track that I mentioned. But steering retains a nice lightness to it, so for a reasonably big ute, it gets around quite nicely. It never feels too cumbersome to steer around on bush tracks. Showroom standard four-wheel drives often leave the car yard with road-friendly rubber, and that's fine. You can understand vehicle manufacturers, they want the tyres to yield a comfortable and reasonably quiet ride for customers, but it's not ideal if you want to take the vehicle four-wheel driving, which is why the fact that the Warrior has Cooper Discoverer AT3s, it's a light truck tyre, it's a very decent all-terrain tyre, pretty well matched to any situation you could drive yourself into. They offer plenty of bite and they aren't too noisy on the bitumen, and they don't affect ride and handling in any negative way. The Pro-4X Warrior is not quite the best ute around in the contemporary mob, but it is definitely the best Navara and the toughest that's on offer. The Navara lineup has the maximum 5-star NCAP safety rating, and that's from testing in 2015. Driver assist tech includes AEB, lane departure warning, a surround view monitor, and a whole bunch more. That's a pretty impressive suite of safety gear, but it is lacking adaptive cruise control. Official fuel consumption is listed as 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's on a combined cycle. Our actual fuel consumption on this test was 9.9 litres per 100 kilometres. The Pro-4X has an 80 litre fuel tank, so that fuel consumption figure should give me an effective touring range of 760 kilometres, and that includes a safe distance buffer of about 50 kilometres. The Navara range is covered by a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty. That's adequate in terms of years, not the best, but the unlimited kilometres factor is in its favour. Service intervals are set for 12 months or 20,000 kilometres. Cap price servicing is available for up to 6 years, with prices ranging from $502 to $783 per service. Rivals such as the Ranger and the Triton offer servicing costs at a fraction of the Nissans, which is comparatively pretty pricey in the dual cab ute ownership stakes. A lot of four-wheel drivers would prefer to cherry-pick their own aftermarket accessories and do up their vehicle in their own time, but I can certainly see the appeal of something like the Pro-4X Warrior. It comes straight out of the showroom ready for adventure, and this is a nice mix of style and substance. It's comfortable on-road and it's more than capable off-road, but it's also a decent value for money four-wheel drive, especially considering how much aftermarket accessories cost. But what do you reckon? Do you prefer your four-wheel drive ready-made, ready-built for adventure, or would you prefer to do your own aftermarket sourcing and fit it out yourself? Have your say in the comments section below.